Welcome back to Grim Advice with Gretta Myers. You've entered the grimoire with 2 M's. Let's turn some pages together. Hello, my friends, my gremlins. It's been a while. Things have been crazy. But I'm excited to be back and share another story with you, so let's get right into it. Alright, today's story is called The Fox and the Horse. Let's begin. A peasant had a faithful horse which had grown old and could do no more work. So his master would no longer give him anything to eat and said, "I can certainly make no more use of you, but still I mean well for you. If you prove yourself still strong enough to bring me a lion here, I will maintain you, but now take yourself away out of my stable." With that he chased him away into the open country. The horse was sad and went to the forest to seek a little protection there from the weather. There a fox met him and said, "Why do you hang your head so and go about all alone?" "Alas," replied the horse, "greed and fidelity do not dwell together in one house. My master has forgotten what services I have performed for him for so many years, and because I can no longer plow well, he will give me no more food, and has driven me out." "Without giving you a chance?" said the fox. "The chance was a bad one. He said if I were still strong enough to bring him a lion, he would keep me, but he well knows that I cannot do that." The fox said, "I will help you. Just lay yourself down, stretch yourself out as if you were dead, and do not stir." The horse did as the fox desired, and the fox went to the lion, who had his den not far off, and said, "A dead horse is lying outside there. Just come with me. You can have a rich meal." The lion went with him, and they were both standing by the horse. The fox said, "After all, it is not very comfortable for you here. I tell you what, I will fasten it to you by the tail. Then you can drag it into your cave and devour it in peace." This advice pleased the lion. He lay down, and in order that the fox might tie the horse fast to him, he kept quite quiet. But the fox tied the lion's legs together with the horse's tail, and twisted and fastened all so well and so strongly that no strength could break it. When he had finished his work, he tapped the horse on the shoulder and said, "Pull, white horse, pull." Then up sprang the horse at once and drew the lion away with him. The lion began to roar so that all the birds in the forest flew out in terror, but the horse let him roar and drew him and dragged him over the country to his master's door. When the master saw the lion, he was of a better mind, and said to the horse, "You shall stay with me and farewell," and he gave him plenty to eat until he died. Interesting. You see, in most grim fairy tales, if you've watched up until this point, or you just know typically that the fox is normally portrayed as a bad guy. It's interesting in this one, he is portrayed as the helper. However, he still uses the classic and cunning of the fox in most typical stories, grim or otherwise. The fox is a very sly and cunning creature, and we see him use that here. So it's kind of interesting to me that in this world there are some traits and talents that are portrayed as bad, as evil, like being sly and cunning. But they don't have to be used as evil, quote unquote, because what really is evil? To the lion, this deed that the horse and the fox did together was truly evil. Okay, so I think it's important also to note that if you can't do something yourself, don't try to do it alone. Like, the horse was like, "I can't do it." So he went and found help. Like, we've got friends. I'm sure you do. I'm sure you have friends. We all have friends. Or coworkers or family that know better than we do in certain situations and can help. Alright. The amount of trust in this story is just, it's a little mind-boggling to me, because it's kind of funny to see how both the horse and the lion were able to trust the fox, even though, again, the fox is typically known for a not so trustworthy nature. And I think that's cool. Back to the beginning of the story, where the farmer kicks the horse out. I mean, first off, he probably should have just let the horse go once he was no longer of use to him. Be like, go forage for yourself, and not stopped feeding him, because that's a little inhumane. But to be fair to the farmer, like, we clearly like the horse. The horse is good. However, to be fair to the farmer, he knew that this horse was no longer able to help and serve him, as is the purpose of the horse. So even though this horse, maybe he really did love this horse. We're not shown a lot of the perspective of the farmer, but maybe he really did love this horse, but he was no longer able to help him, and so he let him go, which I think is really brave, because how often are we in situations where things we own, like clothing, or clothing is no longer able to serve us. Maybe it just is worn. Maybe it's broken. Ripped. Clothing is broken. Whatever. Maybe it doesn't fit anymore. But we still keep it because we feel bad, because it was great. It was great to us. We loved it. So we feel bad getting rid of it. But it takes a lot of strength and energy to say, hey, I no longer need you in my life, so I'm gonna have to let you go. I mean, the same can be true of people. It sounds a little callous, but if people are no longer being what you brought them into your life for, and in fact, if they're being unhelpful and unkind, and taking up more resources and emotional energy than you need and have to give to them, such as the farmer with this food that the horse needed, that he didn't have, then it's kinder to let them go. It sounds callous and it sounds painful, but it's true. And it takes a lot of emotional strength to be able to let things go. Alright, my gremlins, thank you for joining us for another Happily Ever After, or not so happily ever after. That's up for you to decide. And what you decide is valid. Because you're valid. You are. Either way, this is the end for today's episode. So tune in later and we can learn more and turn new pages together.